Welcome, welcome, welcome. Early morning for me, dark, dark, dark here in Alaska. Uh, and it's so lovely to see such a conflux of friends here from my tribe and from other things. So I'm so happy to be doing this. It has always been my dream. I adore Lifebook, and it brought me to WildFit. So what's not to love about it? And then I'll tell you my quick story about it. I was, where was I at in life? I had a great life. I've really been blessed. I have a lovely marriage. I have a great relationship with my kids. I homeschooled them and unschooled them for many years. And so that was my job. I was a mom, and I was a wife, and I was a daughter, and I was a daughter-in-law, and I was a sister, and that's what I was for a really long time. And then my kids decided to retire me as a teacher, and they decided to go to school. So suddenly I was put out of my main job of homeschooling, and they went off and they were quite successful, and then they didn't need me anymore. So then that led us to, we had also been kind of vagabonds and traveling the world and taking them with us and traveling around. But then suddenly they went to school. So we kind of needed to be in Anchorage because that's where they were going to school. So we decided to buy a house, and we renovated it into our dream house. And that was my job for a little bit, to manage that, to make this house our home. And that took a bit of my time. That took another couple of years, and finding the right things and having fun with that. And then suddenly that was done. I had been taking care of my father for a long time, going back and forth to Connecticut, where he was in an assisted living facility, and he passed away. And so then that job was done. And this was in 18. And I actually had never, I had just sort of discovered podcasts. I know I'm way behind you guys, but that's okay. In the end of 17, I discovered podcasts, and I had always been an avid listener of books on tape. So totally, and always into self-development, psychology, self-help, that type of stuff. So that's always what I was listening to. And then suddenly I found podcasts. Are you kidding me? I don't even have to go to the library and get books on tape. This is awesome. And my very favorite podcast soon became, was Tom Bilyeu's Impact Theory. So at the end of 17, Tom Bilyeu interviews Vishen Lakhiani on education, my very favorite subject. My degree at school is in early childhood education. And so it's not what led me to homeschooling. Well, it sort of did, because I, as a teacher, said, oh my God, these poor kids, they come into school all excited and they want to learn, and you have to, and the rules are sit down, raise your hand, wait, stop, no, don't, blah. And by the end of kindergarten, they're like, those poor little kids. And so I saw this, and I, as a teacher, I was like, when I have kids, they are not going to school. So I do appreciate my education in that way. So I listened to Vishen talk about the future of education. And if you guys have done Lifebook and you're part of Mindvalley, you know how many gazillion emails we get now. And now he is still talking about education and the future of education. And I think it's so interesting. So this was way back, when he was just getting started. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I love his vision, this future vision of education. So I'm like, I'm there on Google. I look up Vishen Lakhiani, Mindvalley. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, look at all these cool classes. So I watch a few master classes, and when you first get onto Mind Valley. There's quite a few. So I watch, of course, Eric's, because that's one of the most popular ones, Wild Fit. And I watch John and Missy with Lifebook and a few others. It's Christmas time and I say, I'm gifting myself one of these classes. What will it be? And I start with Lifebook. Now, Lifebook for me started with the 30-day quest. And I started with that 30-day quest. And then from there, that was January of 18. And you start with that evaluation that they have you take. And then I did the 30-day quest. I'm like, oh my goodness, my eyes are opened. Look at all these possibilities. And I decided to continue on. And I did the full 6-week, then it was called Milo, My Life Book Online. I think that's what it was called. Their format has completely changed since then. And now they have their own platform. But anyway, so then I did the 6-week Milo where I developed my own life book. Now, I actually even have the life book binder. Mine is now covered with something else, but it's underneath here. I'll uncover it and you can see it's this black, which is not my favorite color. And that was an option back then. I don't even think they sell them anymore. You have to like go to a live event to get them. And I did the 6-week and then I continued on and did the mastery afterwards, which was not my favorite thing. So I just wanted to have this because it's always been my dream to sort of, I looked into becoming a life book coach and they were not at all ready to, they started their training. I think they did some in 19, maybe the end of 18. And they weren't as prepped as Wild Fit was. So it was like, which one do I want to do? And Wild Fit or in organization factor was so much ahead of Lifebook. And so that's why I jumped in and did, became a Wild Fit coach. But I was like, really, both were so empowering in my life. So since then, I redid in 19, I redid the whole quest because they had updated it. John Butcher had done all new videos and all that stuff. And they offered the lovely, you pay $500 for it because when I purchased it, it was not a lifelong thing. They were not yet with Mind Valley. So I purchased it, but I didn't get it. You didn't get the videos. So you weren't able to redo it. And they told us that we would, when it was updated, we would get it, but they never followed through on that. So I purchased it for the $500 and then it got the rebate back in 19. So I redid it again at the start of 19. And then in 20, basically I've now branched off from Lifebook and made my book called Optimize My Life. And I've totally made it my own. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. Utilizing it to make it your own. So I have new categories, I have a new organization, and it was so fun. And that's what I want you to have. I don't want you to have a life book that sits on the shelf. You took the time to figure out for each of those categories, what your beliefs are. What is your dream vision? Why do you want that? And how are you going to get that done? You took the time to do that. So I want to kind of use this time to explain to you how I have adopted this lovely, wonderful thing when I made my life my job because I wasn't working. I dove into Lifebook. I just really immersed myself into it and created a masterpiece of my life. And it was the first time I'd taken the time to think about me. As I said, I had been a mom and a sister and a daughter and all these other things and a wife, and I hadn't been Pamela. And that was the first time I really took the time to be Pamela. And then finding out with all those categories, my number one category, if I were to improve, had been health and fitness. And that is what led me to Wild Fit. And then as I finished Milo, creating my Lifebook. And then I went into the mastery program. We redid that evaluation again. And so then my, of course, health and fitness had risen incredibly. So what was my category that was like in the pits, that the number one category, if I were to fix, would have like brought up all the other categories? Career. I had no career at that point. And then lovingly, of course, not lovingly, because Eric is quite brilliant. While it sends out, as you finish the 90-day challenge, so are you interested in becoming a WildFit coach? And I was like, who, me? If I could be like Ariel and Amanda, they were my coaches it was a big cohort then. At that point, listen to this, Mind Valley did 2 WildFits a year, in February and in August. They did 2 a year. And then in 19, let's see, what was the month? May, they decided to start them every month. And WildFit kind of wasn't really up to speed with that Mind Valley was going to need coaches every month. And they didn't really know they were starting it. And so Mind Valley started running WildFit every month. And I was in the right place at the right time, where Mind Valley had started without any WildFit coaches. They just started a group in May of 19. And WildFit reached out to me and said, Pamela, will you help and hop in and do this? And there was no compensation. And I'm like, me? Yeah. I mean, I was a new coach. I mean, I was just barely, I finished my certification at the end of 18. I'm like, yeah. And so I hopped in. Like, they had already been like 2 to 3 weeks into their journey, and they hadn't had a coach. So do you think that they were pretty happy when I hopped in there? I had some other help, some WildFit corporate coaches hopped in with me, but I was in the right place at the right time to help WildFit out. So that was May. I coached that group. Then they started another one in June. And they're like, we need coaches. Pamela, will you do this one? Yeah, I'll help in June. And then by July, WildFit was like, okay, all right, we're going to get ready. And they brought in some other coaches, and things worked out. Well, what happened then right in the middle of 2020, Mind Valley runs WildFit every week. Every Monday, they start a new WildFit. Are you kidding me? So at this point, Mind Valley has taken over contracting with the coaches directly. So now I have a contract with Mind Valley, and 9 other coaches that lead that. And there's 5 languages now, or 6 even, languages that WildFit is taught in. So I was in the right place at the right time. But it all started with Lifebook, with my own version here that now I've branched out with. And so I just really wanted to say, when you write down what you want and your goals, oh my goodness, you've planted the seeds. And would I have seen the opportunities? Would I have jumped at them if it hadn't already been my vision? I don't know, but I am living my dream life. I am. I mean, I was blessed before, but now I have purpose. Now I have a vision that I'm aligned with. I am on like a fast track. My visions that are listed here in my book, in my Optimize My Life book, come true so quickly that I have to continually, I choose to go back and revisit them and update them continually. So much like Lifebook taught in the beginning about the cycle, you go through and you focus on one health and fitness on January, and you go through it, and there's 12 things, and it matches up to 12 months. Much like that, I go through much quicker. because as soon as I've edited one, I go through and I start the cycle again. I block off time every week, and it's usually Thursday mornings. This time right now, if I weren't meeting with you, I would be updating my Optimize My Life book. I block off 2 hours every week to really take time to update. And it's just, I just want to encourage you guys to do that. And I'm going to talk about a few different ways that I really pull and use my Optimize My Life stuff to how I incorporate it into my life. So I have certain different things that I get to meet with people. I also was blessed after starting my WildFit coaching program. I did business freedom with Eric, and it was a mastermind group. And still to this day, that started in October of 19. So it's been 2 years. 19, must have been 18, sorry, October of 18. Business freedom. And he doesn't offer it right now, this mastermind, but I jumped in because I was like, as a new WildFit coach, oh my goodness, why would I not do a program with Eric when I'm already invested all of these things in all of this time into becoming a WildFit coach? Why would I not do business freedom? And you might think, if you've looked at the business freedom program and decided not to do it, it was different because I had a group to do it with. And for me, that's what makes all of the difference. When you meet with people, when you get together with people, that's what holds you. It's not, I don't necessarily love the word accountable. It inspires you. That's the word I'm looking for. It fuels you. You want to do better, to be better, to have more when you're with a group that's also elevating you, that's bringing you to be the best that you can be. And that's what this mastermind group did for me. And still to this day, 2 years after we started, I have 2 different business freedom groups that I can meet with every week because it's so empowering. Creating a team. I know that a few of you, I see Diane and Harry and a few others that were in your coach. You did a coach certification together. Stay together. You guys are a powerhouse because you get together and you still meet. There's no better thing than that because you rise to be a better person. You can celebrate. For me personally, when I met with you guys, I mean, it was so empowering. But for you to come together like that and have that group where you can talk about things that are going on in a different way, because you don't have that in your regular life. As solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, we can be isolated. And Zoom has brought us together in a lot of different ways, but reach out and find those that are lifting you up. Find those that are empowering you to become a better you. So I have these groups that lead me through, and that is one of the ways that I completely use my book. So I have updated my categories, and do you guys like it? I was going to say, would it be helpful if I tell you what my categories are? Because I don't want to say these are the right categories. I just want to show you how I've branched out and changed my categories. So, okay, so I have enough hands there. I will explain what I have, and I've also changed the order. And my message right here in this is, let me have some water here, and I hope you all have your water. Again, I'm not here to say, I've branched out and changed my life book in this way, and this is what you should do. I'm here to empower you to take your creativity and your imagination and to make it your own. to take the things that you're learning from Eric, to take the things that you're learning from John Butcher, to take the things you're learning from whatever other course you're doing from Mind Valley or any other course you're doing anywhere, and to encapsulate that, the best of the best, and put it into your life book so that you can use it. You make it a usable tool, not just a showcase thing that is off, that you did at one point and it's all very pretty and all that. Use it, mark it up, make it your own. All right, so I'm going to go through. Let me stop and take a few minutes and answer a couple of questions. Now, I'll take some questions. I don't really have a set format for this workshop. I just wanted to explain to you again how I'm using my life book and sort of what I have evolved with. So does anybody have a question so far of what I've already talked about? Well, nobody. I don't know if I have everybody. Oh, Michelle.
Because I'll always chime in. I actually didn't do Lifebook, so I'm here to glean whatever I can out of today's session that is usable for me, and so I just wanted to just share that.
Excellent. So I know that you're not the only one. I had some other messages of persons. Are they allowed to join in if they hadn't done it? So I will give you a quick overview, and then Louise, I will answer your question next. So Lifebook is, you start with an assessment of 12 areas of your life. And since I've changed my categories, I kind of forget what they are, but let's see if your health and wellness. I'm just going to randomly, I probably won't get all 12. Your emotional being, your character, your love life, your marriage, your parenting and being a parent, your social life and your friends, your financial life and your money relationship, your relationship with your job. I don't remember if those were separate. They are for me now. I don't remember what else. You look at each of those areas of your life. And then the last one was, what do you want in life? Like your overview of, I forgot what they call it. But for me, it's like, it's all of the things that you want in your life. If you want a dream home, your dream car, the actual material things that you want. For me, there's a lot of things with my job, with building up Wildly Vibrant that I want to have, my vision. So there's all of the things you want to have. And then the final category is sort of pulling all of those together into encapsulating that into one life vision, so that you have a quick synopsis, mine is 2 pages, of your total vision, encapsulating each of those categories into one nugget. I've now called mine my optimized ideal scene. And I take a little bit of all of those things in my life and what do I want from that? And by having a 2-page optimized ideal scene of exactly what I want to see in my life in the future, it's an incredible, wouldn't it be nice if? So you've worked with Eric, that's what he likes to use it, and that's what I love too. Wouldn't it be nice if? And you just dream and you put it all out there. And for me, these seeds have harvested. And so Eric has a story about a butterfly garden, and you can plant the seeds. You can run around and you can have a net and you're like, oh, I want that. Let me get that, but oh, I want that butterfly. Oh, I want that butterfly. And you can run around and try to capture them, or you can plant the seeds, water the seeds, bask in a garden and wait for the seeds to bloom. And those seeds will create the flowers. that attract the butterflies that land on you. So do you want to run around and try to capture these things, or do you want to plant the seeds to create the garden where everything just comes to you? So that's sort of taking Eric's story and into Lifebook's story, but that's what it is. It's taking the time to identify, what do you want? Why do you want it? What are your beliefs in that area? And what is your ideal scene in that area? And steps of how you'll get there, sort of. So does that help a little bit, Michelle? Yeah. Louise, you had a quick question?
You've really answered it.
Yay!
I got on the call about 15, 20 minutes late. So I didn't know if you had already given an overview of Lifebook or not. But a subsequent question is, where does Lifebook originate from? Is it an Eric thing, or is it a something else thing?
It's John and Missy Butcher, and it's through Mind Valley.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other quick questions about what I've already talked about? Diane?
I haven't done Lifebook either, but I'm drowning in WildFit right now. So
No. Diane, you're not drowning.
I'm overflowing. So what kind of how much time, you said it takes you 2 hours a week now, but to set up and go through it originally, how much time did you spend doing it?
A lot. Remember, I wasn't working. I didn't have a purpose. I made my life my full-time job. So I poured myself into it. I really did. You can do an overview and you can take the time. You did Isaiah, right, Diane?
Yes.
I would just focus on that.
Okay.
It's one thing at a time. You have learned enough from Eric's 5 areas of life. That's enough.
Okay.
You can take any of the things here and just maybe break it down into smaller momentum chains. But what Eric taught in Isaiah is awesome. And I took Isaiah and I wanted to put it into Lifebook. And this is something for me as this workshop. Like I said, I thought about becoming a Lifebook coach, and WildFit was more ready to train coaches. And so that's why I jumped into that. And I'm so happy because Lifebook still really hasn't developed their coach training program or given the ability to those coaches to coach, even though they've had some training. So WildFit is really in a position to explode. And I just love that. But you can take these ideas and apply it to the Isaiah process. And if you have those categories and that kind of stuff, then take that. What I want to say too, like even with what you learned in Isaiah, take the time to know where you want to go. Wouldn't it be nice if in all these categories of your life, and finding what I loved about Isaiah, I know I'm traipsing over on things here, was finding those keystone goals. And I will mention this and I'll teach you guys a little bit about this. As you have your categories in your Lifebook. For me in the beginning, my health and fitness was my lowest category. So that was a key goal to enhance every other area of my life. So it was a keystone goal. When you have a category or you have a goal within a category that will upscale every other category, that is like a flashing light. Pay attention to this because you can work on one thing and improve everything. So by most of you, all of you, by living WildFit, by improving your health and fitness, you improve every area of your life. You're a better mother. You're a better, you're definitely a better spouse. You're a better daughter. You're better at work because of your energy and focus. You're better at everything when your health and fitness and wellness is improved. So that's a keystone goal. And so identifying those things that you can do in life that improve everything, that's what's so important. And getting back to where I was talking about business freedom and taking that class, I so learned to set up systems, to have things that you can rely on. And this, having a book, whether it's a life book or an optimize your life book, whatever you want to call it, having a place and a system to hold all those dreams is so important. And having the format that you can incorporate into your life. So I'll give you a few examples now of how I totally use this in my life. First of all, the whole life vision, or I've gotten so far away from Lifebook that I've forgotten what John and Missy call them. But my 2-page synopsis from all of my other categories that come in is my optimized ideal scene. And reviewing this and updating it and changing it and adding my words, this just takes everything. And when I read it, I've added those words that totally fuel me. It's not boring. Has anybody done Peer? What's her first name? Her course, any of her stuff? So she talks about those words that like light you up. Don't use, I'd like to have this. No, I'm empowered to have this. This lights me up. This is exultant. This is joyful. Use those words in your synopsis of your life. Use those words that that light you up, that fuel you, that like inspire you to be better, do better, have better. So come up with those words and really put them in there so that this is not boring. This is your life. This is what you want. This is your ideal scene. When I am coaching as a WildFit coach, I ask people, I say, tell me, please write down what you want. If you don't know where you're going, I can't help you get there. I know you don't want to be back here in your old self, in the old thinking, but what do you want? Where do you want to go? And as a coach, that's one of the very favorite things that I love to say is write it down. Tell me, what are your dreams? Why are you doing WildFit? And not only that, but let's do a wouldn't it be nice if? Because that unleashes you. It lets you float. It lets you dream bigger than you ever have before. Imagine how you'll feel when. I use it for myself. Pamela, imagine how you'll feel when you actualize your optimized ideal scene. Oh my God. I mean, I'm already happy. Can you imagine? I'll just be floating right on out of here. But I'll tell you one thing. Imagine I won't be here in Alaska where it's pitch dark at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to have my toes in the sand close to where Michelle is. This is my dream home. It is my dream home. It is so exciting. But guess what? My kids are no longer in school here. There is no tie for me to be in Anchorage. My business is global. I don't have a business here. I do not see myself shoveling snow and putting Christmas lights up in the dark in my future. I got my toes in the sand and I'm really warm. So I'm going to be moving. Despite that I have a dream home here, I don't need all this space. I don't have I don't have to hold this for my kids. It's a holding place for a lot of stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that stuff, but I am not going to be here long. So I'll be saying bye-bye to this lovely, lovely house, and I'll be cashing out my chips and going on to another adventure of my life. And I don't know where that will be. So if you'd like me in your area, just apply now, but it needs to be warm.
Oh,
I'll be
we have a
hanging.
spare bedroom so you can land.
I can at least start there. Okay, I'll start at Michelle's. So knowing where you want to go and planting the seeds, that's what's key. I don't know where I'm going, but that warmth and the beach and the freedom and not having, not needing a house with all of these things is in my future. So my other categories are, I have a section on, this is interesting. I just have a section, I call it sync, like syncing up. Because it's all my things, like miscellaneous things. For instance, I just did the Isaiah workshop, and I don't know quite where to put all of that information into my group. So sync is, these are some extra things that I've now learned, and I don't know where they're going to fall into my current categories of my life book. So it's just some extra notes that I have going on that I've been learning about things, and I don't know where they go. So they need to at some point be synced up into my life book. And that's where I put them, because I don't want to have, I have a lot of notebooks. I keep paper, and I'm slowly releasing that and coming up with new ways to track things. But when I have something that was so meaningful to me, I want to hold on to that, not to capture it like the butterfly with a net, but to harvest it, to gather the best of it, and to know what do I want to take from that experience and to put into something that I'm already using into my Optimize My Life book. My next section is mastery. These are kind of like the sections that are after my ideal scene with my starting off and syncing up my miscellaneous things. Then I have mastery. What am I going to do with this to master these things? And some of the things that I learned from Isaiah, some of the different things that from other programs, but I also have some different lists that I put in here. I have sort of my overview of my philosophy of life. If I ever write a book, it's going to be called Be More, Do Less, Have Abundance. Be, do, have, because it's all about who you're being. And then you can go from there to what you're going to do. And then from there, you can ask for what you want to have. So I have my life philosophy. I have a bunch of different lists. I've told you before about how to keep a list of what makes you happy. Who keeps a list of what makes you happy? If you don't have a list of what makes you happy, for me, it's sitting in front of a fireplace in the winter. In the summer, it's swinging in my hammock. I'm not swinging in my hammock right now. So these things totally bring me bliss. Swinging in a hammock. What does that cost? Nothing. Sitting in front of my fire. What does it cost? All right, I have to pay for the firewood. It is a wood burning stove. Yeah, I paid for the renovation to have the gorgeous fireplace. Yeah, I paid for it at one point, but what does it cost really? It costs like nothing. Reading an amazing book that just lights me up or that fuels me and gives me new ideas for coaching. These things make me happy. And I want you guys all to have a list of what makes you happy so you can do more of them. Eric says, a successful life is the amount of days that you are happy. Happy, that's it. You have to fuel yourself. Your spouse can't make you happy. Your kids can't make you happy. You have to decide to do the things that make you happy. So keep a list of things that make you happy so you can do more of them. I keep a list of habits that I want to start, habits that I want to release because it no longer serves me. Anyway, I keep a few lists in that section called mastery. All right, now I'm on to my, I've left the Lifebook categories of health and then character, emotions, whatever they all were. And I've gone on to my own. And I start with body, mind, and soul. Those are my first 3 categories. What do I want from my body? What is my ultimate wild fit body? I'll tell you one thing. I do like the sun and I want to be tan. I'm not afraid of the sun. I love the sun and I love to be a little bit darker than I am right now. So my body, what do I want for my body? And it continues to change. So this is why I have to say, I choose to cycle through and utilize my Lifebook so that I always have a vision. I'll go into, for each category, I have different sections that I've also changed, stepped away from the Lifebook sections and I've made my own. But I'm going to just give you the categories first. So body, mind, what is my intellectual? What do I want to be learning about? What is my continuing education? I have a lot of things that I want to learn about. A lot of things that WildFit education never ends. Mind Valley education never ends. All the books that I want to read, people recommend. All of the things I want to learn. That's about my mind and what I want with that. Next is my soul. What do I do to honor the moreness of me? I'm not just me in this body. I have had many, many, many lifetimes. I have many things that I want to do, and I want to connect with that source of me and the source of the world. And what do I want to do to hold that? My very favorite symbol for this section is my infinity sign. I adore the infinity sign. And I'll just show you, for instance, for this section, can you see it? I mean, I have notes all over it. This is a working document. So I have a group that I meet with during the week. Actually, I'm going to hold on to that story and talk about that after, when I talk about how I use my book. My next section is love. That's my beloved husband. Eric kind of puts this all into like connections or the social thing. He has, parenting and being all these different things. I'm sorry, my husband gets his own section, baby. We've been married 33 years. This is our 34th year married. Before that, we were together 5 or 6 years before that. I don't even know how long we've been hanging out, over 40 years. And so here's a picture of us at our wedding. Our song is Something by the Beatles. Something in the way she moves. Anyway, he gets his own section, baby. I want to focus on him. I want to light up when he walks in the room. I want him to look at me with those lovely eyes that just say, you're everything to me. He gets his own section. All right, next, family, which to me is parenting. It's me and my kids. I have some siblings. They're also in this group. I'm not that close to them. They think that WildFit is let's see, what did my sister say? Why are you doing these shenanigans? She told me. Clearly, she doesn't quite get how much WildFit means to me. So family is my kids. It is my close family. I don't have any parents or in-laws anymore. I'm the eldest of my generation. It's kind of sad, but when my father was still alive, the last of my parents, he was in this group also. All right, next is friends. That's you guys. I mean, I have friends all over the world. I have a social network that means so much to me. I get so much out of this. And so I want to cultivate this. I have a vision of meeting, of traveling the world and seeing my friends, getting to, Lisa, if I'm coming there, baby. I have not been to Monaco and it's on my list. So to hang out with you guys and to, I mean, who has friends all over the world like I have friends all over the world? And I want to come and be with you wherever you are. Laura, I don't know where you are now because I can't even keep track of you. So, but I'll come and visit you. So I have my friends section. Okay, my next section is, I call it, it just has some quick initials on my tab. It says WV for wildly vibrant, BF for business freedom. Okay. What do I want from my business? I want to do the things that fuel me. I want to do the things that are fun. I want to do the things that I want to do the coaching part. Do I want to be doing my finance reports? Do I want to be doing my marketing? Do I want to be, what parts really light me up? I want to have affiliates all over the world. I want to collaborate with other WildFit coaches. I see a group where I perhaps am offering a collaboration of WildFit coaches so that we have access to marketing our businesses by somebody else. If I find a marketing person that can do inception marketing for my WildFit business, how difficult is it for that company to do inception marketing for Diane and for Harry? Our clients are different. Our target markets are different, but the core stuff is the same. And I think somewhere out there in the world, there is somebody to collaborate with that can come in and offer that for us so that we don't have to do our own marketing. We all collaborate together. So that's like, this is like my vision. So I become a broker of WildFit coaches to say, you don't want to do that part? I know who to hook you up with. You don't want to do that part, so that we can do what we love. The part that fuels us, that lights us up. So that is my wildly vibrant business freedom. I do the stuff that I love, and I have somebody else doing the other stuff. And that starts with my systems and all that stuff. So that's that section. My next section is money, because money is not part of my company. Has their goals, but for me, my money goals are different because I have been investing and saving and collecting money prior to all this. And it's not, I have money goals within Wildly Vibrant, but my money goals are so totally separate. My abundance goals for what I want with money has its own category. All right, now this is a very interesting category that comes up next. I call it life. And what this is, it's a timeline of my life. I keep this because, I mean, this actually gives me thrill bumps to explain it to you. First of all, I don't have a very good memory. Yeah, when did I do that big thing? I don't know. But this is my wins. I actually started off with, it says, my life timeline, wins, and amazing things I have done in my life. When our family, prior to owning this house, remember I said that we always rented, we would, if a lease was up, we packed our things up, put our belongings into storage, and traveled. We just took off. And when family needed us on the East Coast, in Boston, in Massachusetts, in Connecticut, when people needed us, needed me, we went and just lived there and took care of them and helped them. And because we could, we would just, our lease would end at wherever we were. We'd put our things in storage and we would just go. So a lot of those things, when my husband's dad needed to be, he couldn't live on his own anymore. His wife had died a few years earlier, his love of his life, and he couldn't live on his own anymore. He needed to go into assisted living. We moved there. I helped him get there and then closed up his house and sold it over a year and a half. This was not a quick thing. But that was a huge win. That was a huge project, and it's on my timeline. Deciding to, homeschool the kids, events that have happened, classes, when I started my WildFit training, when I got my certification, these things are dated there. I have the date and I have the event, and I have a timeline of my life of amazing, amazing things that I've done in my life. And I encourage you to do the same, because then you don't have to keep it up here. One of my favorite things is, don't keep it up here, write it down. Then you have a place to put it. So that was my next section, and I just call it life. And it's just a timeline of my life. Now I have 3 more sections. Michelle, I'm going to just finish and then I'll take your question. I have 3 more sections. And you remember the title of my book? Be, do, have. Those are my last 3 sections. Be, who do I want to be? This is where character and emotions comes in from the Lifebook stuff into this. Who do I want to be? This is where Isaiah comes in. Who do I need to be to have all of these goals? This is the key. I can't influence anybody else if I'm not, I have to take responsibility for me. And I never want to stop learning and being more. So this is where I put all of the characteristics that I want to be. And I titled the section, Who I Intend to Be. Intend. I have a lot of intent to make this happen. And then do, what are the experiences I'm going to have in my life? What do I want to do? I want to travel the world. I want to see all of you. I'm going to check it off. I'm going to go see Anna, and I'm going to go see Hilda, and I'm going to go see Louise, and I'm going to see all of you. That's my dream. I probably can't make it happen, but who cares? These are the things I want to do. I want to experience going up into a hot air balloon. I have yet to do that in my life. These are my experiences that I want. My daughter is at school in Boston. She only looked at schools in Boston. She's a huge Boston sports fan. And when she left to go to Northeastern University, she said, "Mom, I'm never coming back." So in my things I want to do, things are crazy expensive in Boston, crazy expensive. But what if she had an apartment and we helped subsidize by renting out a room? That's in my do. She has a place and then we have a room, and I get to put my stuff, because I don't know where I'm putting it all when I sell the house. I put some stuff there, but I have a place to always go. So things that I want to do, experiences that I want to have, the experiences, because the last section is have, is actually the stuff. So the under do, it would be like to spend the time there in Boston. The have is to have the room. So be, do, have. Have is all of the stuff I want to have. I don't know if you guys remember, but I met up with a moose last year. Walked out in front of my car, totaled the car. Moose walked away. Pamela got to drive home with a totaled car. The car, I got a very lovely amount of money for that car from State Farm Insurance. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because it was quite an older car. But now I don't actually have a car, and I've been looking for one for a while. So that's under my have. I'm in Alaska. I don't want this, a fancy sports car. I don't need a convertible. I need a 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive car with studded tires. And what I really want is a bright green Subaru Crosstrek. I don't know if you've seen them. Anyway, there aren't any here in Anchorage. They don't even make them anymore, but somehow it's going to come to me. I think, can't you see Wildly Vibrant with a little sign on the side? Bright green car. That's me driving it. I don't have it yet. So it's under my have. So have is all of the stuff I want, all of the things that I want. Despite that this is my dream home, when I wrote most of this, I had other dreams that I wanted to have in my home. Now that I've kind of decided maybe I'm going to be selling it, I probably won't do them, but who cares? They're all still captured there. So I will take some questions. Those are my categories for right now. I'm not saying that they're complete, but those are mine, and that's what I have evolved to do it. And Louise, did you have a question? Somebody had a question. No. Who had a question? Michelle.
Sometimes my cursor disappears and I just curse. Right? That's what it's for, as a cursor. I was just going to say, I love the timeline of wins. Because whenever you're feeling like you're low, you're not able to accomplish something, you just need to look back at that to remind yourself as really how incredibly awesome we truly are. So thank you for that. I love that.
Yeah, looking back on those things is so monumental, and acknowledging yourself. So for all of you, I hope that you do something like that so that you can go back and really, go like this. Congratulations, you did this. Pat yourself on the back. All right, any other questions at this point? Deb, do you have a question, or are you just laughing?
Meeting.
Oh. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sitting in a car. It's cold night in Poland, Eastern Europe, and I'm so happy. Can you imagine that? Now, my question is simple. Could you just put the recording somewhere in the group, because it's so valuable?
Yes, of course, which is one of the reasons why I recorded it. So
perfect.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you're finding this valuable. It is such an important part of my life. And this next section that I'm going to go in, I don't even know how long I've been talking. This is quite long. It's already been an hour. But I do want to now talk about how I utilize this. Where in my week do I actually pull this book out and play with it? So any other questions before I go on to the last section? Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
About Isaiah, what is that?
So it's Eric's Lifebook. It's his, he just did a 3-day workshop 2 to 3 weeks ago. And it's his own version of looking at main categories of your life and coming up with your goals and how you're going to get there, and to plant the seeds, and to his main message, which was my very favorite part, was starting in November for the next year. Really looking ahead to what do you want for 2021 in November, and then you get a head start. So when January 1st rolls around and everybody's like, okay, so let's sit down and make our plan, you've already been like, honey, I've been working on my plan already for a month, for 6 weeks.
Sounds good.
So anyway, that's what, so Azaya, Azaya, means intention or intent in Sanskrit. And that's it's setting your intent for going forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Pamela,
Yeah, Lisa.
Hi.
Hi,
Thank
Lisa.
you so much for having me. Hi to those I know. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Pamela. It was really nice. And when I was a little girl, I used to, well, as I grew up, I used to have a travel line because I was dancing and I used to travel a lot. And I used to keep a world map and pinpoint everywhere I went to. And I really liked your idea of doing a lifetime line. And I hadn't thought of doing that, but I think that's really helpful. So I just want to say thanks. Thank you.
You are very welcome. It's just, like I said, getting things out of here and like, wow, when did I do that? When I helped my father-in-law sell his house, it was so emotional and it was such a huge win. It was such a huge win. And I was like, well, where do I write that? And that's sort of what started it. And then I like went back and I looked at different things that are really monumental in my life and when did they happen? And then since then, of course, like my WildFit training and doing the Lifebook and doing these, they've been huge touchstones to me to say, wow, you started that business freedom class in October of 18. And look at what that has done for where you are in your life. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else with a question? Didn't know I would go this long. I didn't know I had this much to say, but I'm so happy because this is such a huge part of my life. And I'm going to finish up with how I utilize this and where I bring this out into my life. Like I said, don't let it be a showcase thing. Make it a working document. Let it work for you. Come up with your creativity to come up with pictures that fuel you. Come up with things. You don't have to find it on the internet and put it into the document. If you're looking through a catalog and you see something that you love, cut it out, rip it out, and just glue it into your section. Let it be a working document that you say, my God, I would look so nice in that bright jade green shirt. I'd really like to have that in my wardrobe at some point. Put it in there. Just put it in there. It's a seed. The more you capture things that you want and say to the universe, this is what I desire, you don't know where it's going to come into your life and how wonderful that will be. All right. So I have some things in my schedule, in my weekly schedule. So on Wednesdays, I meet with my Business Freedom Mastermind group, who has now evolved way beyond a mastermind and into sort of my board of advisors. These are my peers that call me, that allow me to dream even bigger, that I can ask ideas. What do you think about this? And I'm thinking about this, and they really help me. So before I start that meeting, I go into my I go into my Wildly Vibrant Business Freedom section, and I read my vision. What do I want for this? So that I have that mindset of what I want and where I want to go before I go into that meeting. It only takes me 3-4 minutes. And, and as I read that vision of what I want, I will mark down and I'll update it. I'll add things into it. But this is where I have a greater vision. Where am I going? What wouldn't it be nice if? Ultimate vision. And then I meet with my group. So I kind of have that big mindset. I have another meeting that on Fridays, I meet with somebody and we do our finances together, which is very interesting. It's kind of a long story. I have a lot of fun things in my life. So before I meet with Debbie on Fridays, I read my money section. I read my vision of my dream, which I've renamed each of the sections within my categories. My dream of my ultimate money vision before I go and do my money stuff on Fridays. If I were to, for my wildly vibrant stuff, anytime, but I just use these visions and I read them to put myself in a spot of what am I looking for before I go into any of my meetings. Do I do this all the time? No. So, but when I do, I have a bigger ultimate vision to see the opportunities. I wouldn't necessarily see it if I didn't review it. And that's what I want to say is more opportunities open up for me because I'm so familiar with my dream of what I want in the future. And if I didn't connect with that often, I don't think I'd see all these opportunities to step into. Would I have coached Mind Valley with no compensation? And that I was later compensated, which is interesting. Will you do this for free? Would I have jumped onto it if I hadn't been clear about what my vision was? I don't know if I was in the right place at the right time, and I definitely jumped into it, and it's made a huge impact on my life. I now am one of the coaches that is contracted with Mind Valley to coach WildFit. There's only 9 of us. That's amazing. So seeing opportunities because I'm in contact with my visions. And so that's sort of how I use that and use my section of my life book. But I also will tell you, I'm going to finish up with how I've changed within each section, because life book talks about, you guys all know because I've forgotten, because I've diverged from it. But let me open up my mind section. I start with, I start with my why, because Simon Sinek told me to start with why. So that's my first category in every section is my why. Why do I want this vision? Why? He told me to start with why, and so I start with why. Okay, so that's my first section in every one of my categories, my why. My next one is my dream, which is my vision, my dream. That is my, wouldn't it be nice if, and there's no holds, nothing is held back. It is just an ultimate spew of my vision of what I want, my dream. I add some different pictures from the internet. Like I said, cut things out of catalogs, whatever to fuel you and make you happy. Now, my next section started out I called it my mindset, which started from the beliefs. Life book has you look at what are my beliefs in this section, to like things that might be holding you back, your blocks perhaps. And I found that not empowering to me. What do I believe? So I have now switched this from something I learned from Vision, and my next section is empowering questions. He doesn't call it empowering questions. He calls it something else, but asking yourself questions because your mind is always looking to answer them. So it is sort of started from my mindset or my beliefs. These are the beliefs I want to have. So I ask it in a form of a question. So why is it so easy for me to change my state and up my vibe? I ask a question. This is in my mind section. So I ask myself some certain questions with my finances. Why is it that my investments are so wildly profitable? You ask a question and then you see the answers. You're always searching for them. And so that's what I did. I just changed that whole section to empowering questions. And then the last is like how you're going to get it done. And as I just learned from Isaiah, momentum chains and making the things really small. I'm like, where am I going to put those momentum chains in to adopt into my life? And that's where it's going to be. The last section is how some just basic ideas of how I'm going to get this thing done. How will I achieve that vision? Different tasks that I'll do. I will call my daughter in Boston a certain amount of times so that I can connect with her. I will visit her a certain amount of times. I will shower her with this and this and this when she comes home for Christmas. Different for my mind, different books I might want to read, things that I want to learn more about. This is the how. This is the small momentum chains of how I will step towards that life vision. And those are my sections, my 4 sections within each section. And with all of that, man, I like talked a ton, and I really thought this might be, I see I have 89 comments in the chat section. So I will go back and I will look at that and I will get back to everybody, but I'll open this up to any questions that you guys have. And Kinja, is that how I pronounce your name?
Hi, Pamela. Kinga.
Kinga, hi.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Wow, this was really, really good. Thank you for everything. I just have a question exactly with this last part, this empowering questions. Could you please go into a little bit and where did you learn from vision? And just, I think I understand, but if you just a little bit more on that, please.
Certainly. So I learned this from vision at Mind Valley Live in February, which was my last time leaving Alaska 2020, just before the pandemic hit. There was a live event for Mind Valley in Los Angeles, California. And Vision talked about, again, he didn't call them empowering questions. I can't quite recall what he called them, but that's my name for him. That when you ask yourself a question, you're always searching for the answer. So why is my life so spectacular? You ask yourself that question, and then you're totally looking for ways throughout the whole day. Instead of like, why am I so stupid? Why do I keep asking this? You know, why do I do? Instead of those disempowering questions that like pull you into a bad state, ask empowering questions that like, imagine how I'll feel. What will it feel like when I have all of these dreams? What can I do today to make a better investment in my future? How can I have more fun today? How can I use my creativity to, where can I bring my creativity to make this an interesting project? Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, certainly. So do you feel like, did you experience that answers come?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, in the same way, if you ask disempowering questions of like, oh my God, why am I so stupid at this? Why do I continue to repeat this? You know, you ask yourself bad questions, you find evidence in your life of how many times you did that. So to ask empowering questions, you find evidence of that going forward.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in Stockholm, so you're welcome here too.
Pardon?
I'm in Stockholm. You're also welcome when your tour is Scandinavia. Thank you.
Thank you. Check on Stockholm. I'll take Lisa's advice and have a pinpoint of all my places. All right. Any other questions? Nothing else from anybody? Like I said, I will go through the chat afterwards. I was in the flow, and I totally appreciate you guys hanging out with me and letting me spew forth all of my loveliness of this, because this is such an important part of my life. And if you've started with Lifebook and you let it go, or it's not up to date, embrace it. You put that effort into creating it, and use it. Use it to be a tool to make your best life ever, to have the best 2021 ever. We've had kind of a disruptive year, and now is the time. Things are being done differently, and it all starts with who we want to be, and then do, and then have. So be the best version of you, and that starts with knowing what you want. So have that dream. Wouldn't it be nice if, and don't hold anything back, put everything into that dream of every category of your life, and go forth and make it happen. So that's all I have to say for now. And if you, I don't know, I'm just wondering if I want to continue and have Lifebook Optimize My Life classes going forward. And if so, I might put it out there into the universe to see if others are interested in doing that. But for now, this is what I wanted to share with you. And I just say, this is the best time. This is the best time to either update your Lifebook. If you haven't done it, just create those sections of knowing what you want to have in your life and make it happen. So why don't you all unmute yourselves and say goodbye, and I will post this recording for sure in our group. Thank you.
Cheerio. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Pam, it was fabulous.
Thank you.
Always enjoy.
Oh, yay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pamela. Great to spend time with you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, and it's nice to see all the other people too.
Yes, see all of you.
A lot of familiar faces.
Yes, that's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.